Good afternoon. As past chair of the University of Iowa Alumni Association Board of Directors, it's my pleasure to welcome you to an event that honors some of the university's most exceptional graduates and friends. These outstanding Hawkeyes have transformed lives not only here in Iowa, but around the globe. Through generous acts of service, investment in the university and its students, and pioneering research and innovation in fields as varied as journalism, healthcare, and engineering, among others. Our distinguished alumni award recipients bring prestige to the university and demonstrate the excellence of our institution to the rest of the world. We're thankful for their diligence and dedicated work, which reflects well on the quality experiences they received at the University of Iowa. Wherever they go, these exemplary individuals represent the best that Iowa and our beloved university have to offer. Today, we gather to commend the remarkable achievement of our 15 honorees. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to welcome a few special guests. My thanks to University of Iowa President Bruce Harold for joining us today. Since becoming the 21st president of the University of Iowa in fall of 2015, Bruce has worked to elevate Iowa's reputation and relevance in the world by leading with vision, energy, and optimism. Whether holding roundtable discussions with students, explaining the UI's important role to state lawmakers, or presiding over the opening of many new campus buildings, he has been committed to keeping our university strong for future generations. Bruce, we're grateful for your leadership and for your presence here today, and we look forward to hearing a little bit from President Harold later in the ceremony. We're also fortunate to welcome back many past recipients of the Distinguished Alumni Award. If our past recipients would please stand, let's take a moment to applaud our past awardees for their great contributions and to thank them for joining us on this special occasion. Thank you. Before we welcome this year's recipients, it's my privilege to introduce the chair of the UIAA Board of Directors. Originally from Oskaloosa, Iowa, Dr. Brett Veerman currently works as a partner and dentist at Dental Health Associates in Madison, Wisconsin. His wife, Lori Veerman, is a fellow UI alum and dentist, as well as an adjunct faculty member with the UI College of Dentistry, and together they reside in Verona, Wisconsin. Brett remains deeply committed to his alma mater through his work with the U of I Alumni Association Board of Directors and as a member of the U of I Foundation President's Club. Please welcome Dr. Brett Veerman to the podium.
And just so you know, I'm not a badger in any means. Justin, thanks a lot. I'm delighted to be here today to help present the University of Iowa Alumni Association's highest honor to these deserving recipients. The men and women we recognize today reflect Iowa values through their strong work ethic and commitment to using their talents to benefit others. These are some of the University of Iowa's best ambassadors and living proof that this institution attracts and helps shape extraordinary people. At this time, I'd like to invite President Harold to join us in helping bestow these awards. Since 1963, the University of Iowa Alumni Association has presented Distinguished Alumni Awards annually to outstanding ambassadors of the University of Iowa. This year, we're pleased to add 15 names to the impressive list of Distinguished Alumni Award recipients in the categories of Achievement, Service, Young Alumni, Faculty and Staff, and Friend of the University. They are indeed a select group that reflects the best qualities of Iowa's friends and alumni. In recognition of their noteworthy professional accomplishments and service to their communities, today we honor 4 recipients with the Distinguished Alumni Achievement Award. Our first recipient, Stephen Corbeil. Stephen has led the healthcare organizations around the U.S. for more than 25 years. Recently retired as president of TriStar Health, a division of the Hospital Corporation of America comprised of 22 hospitals in the Southeast. He remains a generous supporter of the University of Iowa College of Public Health, where he's established a fellowship for deserving Master of Health Administration students. Stephen also mentors students and summer interns, and he served as the UI Department of Health Management and Policy Board for 12 years. Stephen, for your admirable contribution to the field of healthcare, we proudly present you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Achievement.
Thank you all. This is quite an honor for me. I want to thank the University of Iowa Alumni Association for this remarkable honor. This recognition is very humbling to me and very meaningful as well. Clearly, the support of the College of Public Health and the Department of Health Management and Policy is incredibly and sincerely appreciated. Today is made more special by having my family here today, and I will say all of them are Hawkeyes. My wife, Mary Kay, sons John and his wife, Ashley, and my son, Mark. My son, Michael, who's also a Hawkeye, almost got on the plane and had a stomach flu. He said, "Michael, please don't come." So as you can tell, there's been a lot of out-of-state tuition paid by the Corbeils over the years. So Iowa holds a very special place in my heart and has had truly a profound effect on my personal and professional life. I actually grew up in Detroit and went to Michigan undergrad. So while I'm not a Hawkeye by birth, I'm a Hawkeye by choice. And I came here because of the incredible reputation in the alumni network of the graduate program in health management. So for me, you know, I've never been to Iowa, but it's really become home, and thank God I did come to Iowa. Not only did I meet my wife of 33 years, she received her master's degree in speech and language pathology, but by attending the graduate program, I clearly would not have had whatever success I've had without being part of that great program. So quite literally, without Iowa, I would not standing here today. You know, an award for achievement is quite humbling, but with most things, achievement is really a team sport. And so in addition to my family, I want to dedicate this award to the thousands of caregivers and support staff who make a difference in people's lives every day. And most of those days are not the best days when our folks took care of our families and our communities. So they're the real heroes in my career. Luckily, I've continued to have the privilege of staying connected with the health management program over the years and interacting with the remarkable students that are within the college. Giving back to the college and to the department has been one of the true joys of our life, and Mary Kay and I will continue to be involved and hopefully make a difference in the lives of students that are here. You may have heard that our healthcare system is in a bit of a transition right now. Future healthcare leaders will be pivotal to assuring patient care and quality are preserved. With one of the premier health management programs in the country, future leaders, Hawkeye leaders, will play a leading role in shaping the future of our healthcare industry. Thank you again for this amazing award, and I'm really grateful for the recognition. Go Hawks!
Phil Curry. Phil's exemplary 40-year journalism career had many high-water marks, including leading the Rochester Times-Union to a Pulitzer Prize in 1971 and serving as senior vice president at Gannett before his retirement in 2008. For many years, Phil served as the UI School of Journalism and Mass Communication Professional Advisory Board and has funded a student scholarship for the school. In honor of his journalistic leadership and integrity, we are pleased to present the Distinguished Alumni Award for Achievement to Phil Curry.
I was hoping for the Young Alumni Award. I was genuinely surprised when I received a phone call some months back telling me that I was a recipient of this award, but what a nice surprise it was and is. I want to thank my friends and colleagues who, unknown to me, quietly wrote nomination letters on my behalf. Sneaky as that was, I really appreciate it. I offer my sincere thanks to those on the Iowa Alumni Board who turned this nomination into a special award, and it's really and truly an honor to receive it. Thanks also to my 3 kids, Cynthia, Richard, and Michael, who are here today and who in their younger years tolerated a lot of travel on their father's part while I was working in a business that I truly loved. And deep thanks to Joan, my wife of a mere 57 years, for her undying support. It all started here at Iowa in my sophomore year, and it has continued well into the senior years, not in college, but in life. When I arrived at Iowa as a transfer student from Cornell College, I knew I wanted to work in journalism. That was about the extent of the specifics. It took an education in the School of Journalism and some hands-on experience at the Daily Iowan to actually begin to shape what that meant. A journalism professor and Daily Iowan publisher, the late John Harrison, had a lot to do with that. After I worked for a while on the Iowan, he encouraged me to apply for the editor's job. I was hesitant, but I got the job, and that started a career of 45 years in the news business. All along the way, there were colleagues and bosses who made a difference, who helped shape my thinking and my direction. There were more than I could possibly mention today, for which you will all be grateful. But I do thank them all. And probably I should thank James Madison, too, who conceived the First Amendment that guarantees our right to a free press and other freedoms, and which makes our nation preciously different from so many restrictive, autocratic countries in this crazy world. Today, our media are under attack. Thank you. Today, our media are under attack from many quarters. Some criticism is deserved, but I spent decades working in journalism, and I know how hard so many men and women work to serve as our watchdogs for democracy and to tell our citizens what's going on. Much of what we know about government and institutions and educational system and neighbors and more comes because of the press and these dedicated people. Well, I'm proud of that and of the education I got at Iowa in this area and for the lessons that I have learned that have carried me into life. Let me close with quick thoughts on Iowa. Some weeks ago, the award recipients were asked to respond to a questionnaire. And one question was, what does always a Hawkeye mean to you? For more than 50 years, I have not lived in this state. But still it's true. You can take the boy out of Iowa, but you can't take Iowa out of the boy. Several years back, I traveled to Iowa in my job and later wrote about it in a Thanksgiving piece for our weekly newsletter that went to Gannett newsrooms. I quote from that to help sum up what always a Hawkeye means to me. Quote, "This is a good time to remember your roots," I wrote in part. "I'm a Midwesterner, an Iowa boy, and last week a business trip took me to my home state. Between research presentations in Des Moines and Iowa City, I squeezed in a day trip to my hometown, Mason City, and to my oldest son's residence, Cedar Rapids. Traveling by car, I drove along miles of open fields. These become boring quickly to non-Iowans, but the same fields reassure those who live in the state or are from it. This rich black soil nurtures crops that help feed much of the nation and even parts of the world, and that's something to remember at Thanksgiving. Trips to hometowns prompt childhood memories, too, of those things that help shape an individual and his or her values. For example, the Iowa work ethic has not escaped this now longtime Easterner, and it never will. The few days in Iowa brought into focus many thoughts of which we all need to be reminded from time to time. Our past shapes our present. Loved ones are so important, and values can endure. That concludes the quotation, but yes, to be a Hawkeye prompts you to think about the important things in life, to carry them in your heart, and to value them all. In this humbling, distinguished alumni award you have granted me, is a beautiful, enduring reminder of what Iowa means to me and to all of us. Thank you so much.
Perfect words by Phil there about Iowa. Dr. Rosebud Roberts. As a professor of epidemiology and neurology at the Mayo Clinic College of Medicine, Dr. Roberts has established herself as an outstanding investigator in the fields of mild cognitive impairment and dementia, conducting important research that has increased the understanding of risk factors and could improve quality of life for the millions impacted worldwide. Rosebud, for all you have done to bring hope and healing to those in need, we are pleased to present you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Achievement.
I thank my friends and colleagues who nominated me, the Board of University of Iowa Alumni Association that selected me to receive this prestigious Distinguished Alumni Award. I owe what I've accomplished professionally to the opportunity I had to receive a master's degree in community health from the University of Iowa. I thank my lecturers for my education, which laid a good foundation for my future. And in particular, I remember Dr. Betsy Crishalis, who gave me my first summer job and taught me that the most important thing in writing a manuscript was doing a good literature review. And also Dr. Chuck Lynch, who taught me how to write a manuscript and gave me the opportunity to be the first author on my very first publication. I have many fond memories of Iowa City. It was the first city that we lived in when we arrived in the United States. There were people from all over the world, so we quickly felt at home. People were very friendly, and our second child was born here. My education at Iowa enabled me to obtain a position at the Mayo Clinic, where my mentors taught me how to apply my education as an epidemiologist first in the study of diseases of the prostate. In the last 13 years, I have been studying risk factors for Alzheimer's disease or dementia. My focus has been on prevention because we still don't have a cure for this disease. And through this research, my team has demonstrated that what is good for the heart is good for the brain. In particular, we have shown that some ways that we can reduce our risk of dementia is to focus on prevention and control of certain conditions such as type 2 diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and high cholesterol. We need to exercise, have a healthy diet, keep our brain active, and be socially engaged. I thank my husband, who's also a graduate of the University of Iowa and who also received an award from the College of Medicine, for his support and encouragement through my education at Iowa and my career at Mayo. I thank my children, who have been cheerleaders in many ways, and our son is here today. I'm truly honored by this award. And again, I thank my teachers, my mentors, those who nominated me, and the Alumni Association for this award. Thank you.
Margaret Peg Stessman. An entrepreneur, community builder, and a member of the Tippie College of Business Advisory Board, Peg has achieved business success as CEO and board chairman of Strategic Health Solution, which helps states prevent fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicare, Medicaid programs. Peg, for your civic-minded leadership and generosity, we are pleased to present you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Achievement.
This, as others have said, is a tremendous honor. In fact, an honor that I am still trying to get used to. When I received the call to inform me that I had been nominated, I actually asked the fellow if he was sure. I thought perhaps he had the wrong Margaret Peg Stessman. There is another one, I am sure, and I thought for sure that must be the one he should have called. But here I stand and am in awe of such an honor. Being an entrepreneur is an interesting endeavor. Unlike some of the other recipients, I haven't been somebody who has developed something great, who is conducting fabulous research. I have only been someone who was so enthralled with the idea that they could make a difference by creating a business that gave employment to others, that I would put almost anything else beyond that desire. I would put those things second. And so to my children and to my husband, I say thank you for understanding that this has been a lifelong passion for me, and a passion that sometimes meant I wasn't there. Many times meant I wasn't there. But through the work that we have done in shaping Medicare and Medicaid, I believe that we are but a small voice, but a voice that is making a difference. One of the things that we are very passionate about is getting folks to understand that these types of programs, including our military health programs, have a very limited existence on the horizon if we don't begin to look at healthcare and how we consume it differently. So when it's said that I work in relationship to fraud, waste, and abuse, that's really what we're doing. We investigate overusage and fraudulent activities and identification of overutilization. All of us combined can make a difference in that. And without us working together, that difference won't occur. And so I hope that the work that I do, in addition to creating jobs, but I hope that the message that we deliver as an organization will make a difference in the United States. Because if you can imagine what our world would be like, our country would be like, if we no longer had insurers, if we no longer had the capacity to have someone pay for some portion of our health care. It's extremely expensive. It's not an unlimited resource. In fact, I believe it's a very precious resource. It's as precious as air and water, because without it, we won't be the country that we are today. But I thank the University of Iowa. It was the place that I began. I came here as the first in our family to achieve a college degree. I was born the last of 6 children, to a steel worker and to a nurse. And I had a chance to come here, and my mother said I would come. My father wasn't so sure, but my mother said, I will come. And graduating from the College of Nursing gave me the strength, it gave me the foundation. 5 years ago, I graduated from the College of Business, and it further enhanced my capacity to be an entrepreneur and to believe I can make a difference. So thank you. Thank you to the panel and to all of you for believing in me and for recognizing the small contributions that I have made. Thank you.
I found out through Peg I now have a new place to golf in South Carolina for part of the year, so I'm excited about that. Kevin Grunite. Sorry, let me begin by saying we are honoring 4 individuals with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Service. These individuals have provided commendable service to their nation, communities, and the ULI family. Kevin has paved the way for hundreds of first-generation college students to attend the U of I through his support of the Iowa Edge program and the opportunity at the Iowa Scholarship Fund. After a long career on Wall Street where he was one of the world's top publishing analysts, Kevin now serves as director on the U of I Foundation Board. Kevin, for your positive impact on the lives of U of I students, we are pleased to present you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Service.
Thank you. This is really heavy. I know Dan Gable's used to this, but not me, not me. Thanks so much. I want to thank those that nominated me to this great group of alumni, several of whom I've had the opportunity to work with. People like Nancy Humbles, who is the head of the Center of Diversity and Enrichment, really laid the foundation for the Iowa Edge Diversity Orientation and Excellence Program that is really so close to my heart. Doug True, who from my vantage point on the foundation board, I've witnessed his wise counsel and devotion to this great university. Nancy Hauserman, who as a young professor teaching a class of hundreds, made business law come alive for me and relevant to my future. And to those that provided me the opportunity via scholarships and grants to graduate from the University of Iowa and reach for my dreams, thank you all. I know you're up there. Finally, to paraphrase Horace Mann, education is the great equalizer. And my wish would be that we could give all those the opportunity that I had, all those that really desire an education, give them that opportunity. Diversity is good for all of us. Thank you.
Jim Hayes. Jim is a highly regarded attorney who has devoted his talents to promoting the UI arts and humanities, most notably through his efforts to improve the understanding and support of Grant Wood's life and art. Jim has not only developed the Grant Wood Art Colony program, but he has also promised the gift of his home, Grant Wood's former residence at 1142 East Court Street, as a place for the U of I to host a vibrant artistic community. Jim, for your contribution to the arts, we proudly honor you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Service.
Thank you very much to the Alumni Association Board and for the Joni Kinsey for making the nomination. It truly is an exciting time, and it's a great honor. Thank you, Bruce, and for all of those associated with this service award. I'm happy that I have family and friends here today. My sister Kathleen from Portland and her husband Denny, and her daughter Elizabeth, and family from Washington, D.C., Dan and Sam and Annie and Agnes. My sister Rose and two of her boys, Martin and Michael. Michael's a lawyer in our office. So our family is pretty heavily Hawkeye. Kathleen did her master's work here. Rose did both undergrad and master's in both the girls in education. And all of their children are Hawkeye graduates. And my brother Denny, who couldn't be here today, is a writer in Toronto, and he's a writer's workshop guy, and he worked with Paul Ankel. So when I think of service and what that means, and service should be a happy thing for all of us that work in that area. I think of something that Franklin Roosevelt said during the Great Depression when he spoke of the service of the citizenry, those who gave and those who received during this terrible Great Depression. And he said, the test of our progress is not whether we give more in abundance to those who have a great deal. The test is how we provide for those who have too little. That was a creed or a way of thinking of our family, of our great-grandparents who came from Ireland to be farmers in Iowa, and to our grandparents and to our parents who lived, they may not have said those words, but they lived those words of taking care of those in need, of feeding the hungry, of visiting the sick, burying the dead, and for honesty, and for never thinking you're better than anybody else, and always giving a voice to those who don't have a voice. We grew up with that. And I see that as service. Grant Wood was the most famous artist in America after his, they say, wildly popular American Gothic. We all know American Gothic. It's the most recognized image or piece of art in the world today. It used to be second to Mona Lisa, but it's now the most recognized piece of art in the world. But Grant Wood lost his voice at his death in 1942. There was no one to pick up for him because there was a great deal of controversy at the university and in the art world because there was a move toward modern art, and he was known as a regionalist. There was a lot of antagonism here at the school, jealousies because he only had a high school education, didn't have a PhD. He was the person who personified the Iowa idea, and it's an important thing to remember. The Iowa idea at this great university was that an individual could be awarded a higher degree by a piece of artwork versus a thesis. And Grant Wood personified that whole concept. But when Grant Wood died at an early age, he was a day short of turning 51, his voice was gone. His sister, Nan, bless her heart, she tried to keep his vision alive. But for about 70 years, the cloud came down, the curtain came down, because his voice was gone. But I can tell you this, that this great university has now given a voice to Grant Wood again by opening the Grant Wood Art Colony, which is situated in 4 houses I own behind my house. And since 2011, we've had fellows from all over the world come to this colony, and they learn about Grant Wood, but they do their own cutting-edge work in painting and printmaking and performance art. And then they take that voice out, and they take that knowledge that they have of Grant Wood to Turkey and Greece and England and the coast to coast in America. So I'm very proud of our university, and we should be very proud of this university in taking that forward in Grant Wood's name. And I say, and I've said to Bruce before, and I've said to many others, Grant Wood is a gift to the university. The university has given a great gift to Grant Wood's voice. But Grant Wood is a gift to this university. He is known worldwide. It would be my wish and my dream that Grant Wood's name and American Gothic and the rest of his art would be seen as synonymous with the University of Iowa. Whether it's when John Callahan is talking about orthopedics, Matt Howard's talking about neurosurgery, whatever it may be, people respond to Grant Wood. They know Grant Wood. He's Iowa. He was born here, raised here, painted here, died here. And he paints what he knew, and he paints what people know. And so, as I accept this award with great thanks, very grateful for this, I think of Grant Wood as well. And I think that he can make our university better. Thank you very much for this.
Thanks, Jim. I just want to let you all know that the famous painting, American Gothic, it's a dentist who is holding the pitchfork there, so. Phil Mayberry. Recently retired as Vice President of Sales of Marquee Accounts at Emerson Process Management in Marshalltown, Iowa, Phil has shown support for the University of Iowa through his leadership as president of the Marshall County Eye Club and a member of the College of Engineering Advisory Board and UI Alumni Association and National Eye Club Board of Directors. Phil, for your unwavering loyalty to your alma mater, we are pleased to present you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Service.
Good afternoon. What a great day. What a great event. First, I'm really honored and appreciative to be recognized for service to the University of Iowa. But I have to say, it's been a two-way street. And I've been influenced by a great number of people here at the university. And I'd like to devote a few minutes to acknowledge many of the key people who supported and inspired me. For example, in my very first week on campus as a college freshman, I had the opportunity to meet the president of the university, Virgil Hancher, who of course is the namesake for this beautiful facility. And this was during a freshman orientation session at the president's house on North Clinton Street. And I remember President Hancher as a very distinguished and gracious host that night, who inspired me towards the pursuit of an engineering degree. And then within the College of Engineering, I had a great mentor and friend by the name of J. Wayne Deegan. He was a department head of industrial and management engineering, who was always encouraging, and when I saw him in the hallway, he inquired about how things were going. Then an engineering professor who inspired me was Dr. Phil Hubbard, who was my engineering dynamics professor. And I note he's a former faculty recipient of a Distinguished Alumni Award. And for those who never met Dr. Hubbard, he was a native of Iowa City who told our dynamics class one day that he shined shoes at a downtown Iowa City hotel to pay his tuition and through both undergrad and graduate school. And more recently, engineering faculty members like Barry Butler, the former dean of the College of Engineering and provost, and more recently named the new president of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Florida. And he, along with Alex Scranton, who's out here in the audience, the current dean, have been great friends and supporters. And I've always been inspired by their enthusiasm and dedication to their college and their students. And then I'd like to acknowledge several from the Iowa Athletic Department and the National Eye Club I've worked with closely for over 30 years, who have inspired me with their dedication and support, such as Andy Pirro, and I know Andy's out here, and Mark Jennings and Matt Henderson, who's sitting over here, and Daryl Borcherding, and they've always been willing to help with whatever was needed as we worked together towards making the Hawkeye athletic program successful. And then one person associated with the Iowa Athletics that really influenced me, and my family can attest to, was an Iowa journalism graduate and longtime radio voice of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Mr. Jim Zabel. Jim was the MC for our Marshall County iClub banquet for 25 consecutive years, and you couldn't help but be inspired by his tremendous enthusiasm and dedication to the Hawkeyes. One quick story about Jim was his dedication was when he was contacted by a major St. Louis radio station to become their director of sports programming. And he was all set to go for an interview. Then he realized, hey, I got a Hawk game to do tonight. I can't miss that game. And he canceled his job interview and never applied again. And that's dedication. And speaking of my family, I've had great support as well from my wife, Madeline, who has put up with my many iClub banquets and bowl games, along with my daughter, Chris, who is an Iowa Law School alum, and my son, Kip, and family, and grandchildren, who like to wear black and gold. Lastly, I'd like to acknowledge the great people at the Iowa Alumni Association, who have been equally supportive, such as Vince Nelson and Jeff Keeter, and an excellent board of directors and staff. Again, I'm honored by the recognition and very appreciative of those who've inspired and supported me along the way.
Great job. Thank you. Thomas Wickham, Jr. As parliamentarian of the U.S. House of Representatives, Tom stands at the right hand of the presiding congressional officer and guides members on procedural matters and precedent. Appointed in 2012 by then House Speaker John Boehner, Tom is just the fifth person to hold the nonpartisan post since it was established in 1927. Tom, in recognition of your faithful work for this country, we are pleased to present you with the Distinguished Alumni Award for Service.
Good afternoon. I'm extremely humbled by this honor. I'm so grateful to the Alumni Association and Vince and Jeff and Brett and everyone who's worked to make this special day possible. I'm also grateful to the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and the College of Law for preparing me for a career that no one in this room had ever heard of before, including myself. I'm also grateful to those that nominated me for this award. They seem to have done the impossible. They got a Washington insider to finally win something in Middle America. I'm grateful for the support of my family. My wife, Heather, an Iowa grad who I met while I was in law school, is here. My son, Brady, is here. My daughter Elizabeth could not be with us. She is engaging in a spring ritual that you all are familiar with. It's called senior prom. She's got priorities. My parents are here as well, Tom Sr. and Brenda, and a quorum of my 7 siblings are here. Lynn, Sally, John, Jay, Matt, Andy, and Luke. The environment that my parents and my siblings created in small town Epworth, Iowa, population 1,800, no stoplights, really laid the foundation for everything I've been able to accomplish. Most of you come to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments or engage in a political milestone. I've been lucky enough to spend my career in the U.S. Capitol building, engaging with the White House, attending over 20 presidential State of the Union addresses, 6 inaugurations. But what I'd like to focus on today is the monuments and milestones here in Iowa City that have been so critical to me and perhaps others in this room. It starts with the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. At the age of 6, I was treated by the best doctors and the best nurses in the world. And my care there spanned over 3 decades. That's quite a pediatrics assignment, if you ask me. Schaefer Hall, that large monument in the Pentecrest, where political scientists, political science professors really drilled into me some obscure topics such as the separation of powers, representative democracy, and impeachment. Who knew? Who knew? And then there's the law school, the monument on the hill, where the professors really took it upon themselves to keep Iowa's golden reputation, to hone my skills as a writer. They exposed me to the importance of working in small groups of highly talented, highly motivated, often highly charged egos towards a common goal. They also instilled in me the famous John Adams quote that is so important today, that we are a nation of laws and not a nation of men and women. But it wasn't all academic monuments and milestones. There's Hancher Auditorium, this beautiful monument, and the old Hancher, where Prince, that great artist, performed a musical. I saw my future wife perform at Old Hancher. And then there's Carver Hawkeye Arena. My brother Jay and I saw U2 perform there in 1987. We also saw nationally ranked sports teams constantly competing for glory. These Iowa City monuments and milestones are as inspiring as any you may travel to Washington, D.C. to see. And I'm grateful to have had them in my life, and I'm especially grateful for this award today. Thank you very much.
Good job. Thank you, Tom. The Young Alumni Award is granted to the University of Iowa graduates or former students aged 40 years or younger at the time of the nomination. Sorry, doesn't include you. For the significant accomplishments in business or professional life, or for service to the university and/or the Alumni Association, in 2017 we honor one recipient in this category, Stephen Davis. In 2003, Stephen co-founded BioNeos, a Coralville-based genetics software startup where he's president and CEO. Stephen continues to give back to his alma mater, serving as a mentor for young entrepreneurs, providing internship and training opportunities for engineering students, and leading the Hawkeye Endurance Athletic Team. Stephen, it's our great privilege to present you with the Distinguished Young Alumni Award.
Thank you, Brett, and thank you to the University of Iowa Alumni Association. I have to say that when I received the call that I was going to be receiving this award, it was a complete surprise. I did not feel that the accomplishments that I have made so far are worthy of such a great honor. And I have to say that anything that I am feeling today, I want all of those who are here supporting me, my business partners, my close family and friends, my mentors, to know that you should all feel as though you share in a part of this award, because it certainly would not be possible for me to have achieved any level of professional success without all of the support that I've gotten from you. When someone receives an award such as this, I think it's only natural to take a moment to look back and reflect on what they've accomplished and their journey. And as I did that in preparation for this award, I realized that there was one extremely important part of my life that shone much brighter than anything else, and that was my experience here at the University of Iowa. It was more than just a college education. Certainly when I came to school here, I felt like I was going to be spending 4 years earning a degree, learning how to be an engineer, and maybe having a little bit of fun. But what I didn't realize was those 4 years were going to extend much, much beyond that time that I was actually a student. It was so important to me to be a part of the university that I couldn't even leave town. I moved here from Wisconsin, and I've been in Iowa City ever since. Right now, in fact, the university is not only inspiring me to continue to achieve professionally, but it is also causing me to reflect back on all of those other alumni that have been accomplishing things so amazing that it makes me want to do more and to be even better. That was the thing that I realized in my reflection, looking back on my journey here at the University of Iowa, that I could never have anticipated, just how inspiring it was going to be a Hawkeye. So, as they say, once a Hawkeye, always a Hawkeye. Go Hawks.
The Faculty Staff Award is granted in recognition of significant achievement or specific meritorious service on behalf and the quality and advancement of the university. Today, we honor 5 recipients in this category. Dan Gable. Dan is a preeminent ambassador for the U of I and the sport of wrestling. An Olympic gold medalist, he led the Hawkeyes to unparalleled success that included 15 NCAA team championships and 21 conference titles over his 21 seasons as head coach. Coach, we're pleased to present you with the U of I Distinguished Faculty Staff Award for your legendary athletic achievements.
It's been a few years. And the last time I had one of these around my neck like this, I lost it within an hour. But I had a great mentor. I had a mother that was there in Munich, Germany, and she found it because I wasn't really smart on knowing what a false bottom was at the time. And so I got it back. It could have been, they don't give these back after. If you lose them, you lose them. I don't know how they do it here, but in the Olympics, I would have had to come back again and win another one. So that's just the way it is. My congrats to everybody that's received an award, and my congrats to and thankfulness to people that put me up for this award. I have much appreciation. I really didn't know if I qualified, being from Iowa State, but I got smart and made the move, even though Iowa State's a great place, but not as good. For me, it was an unbelievable ride in my life because of the great mentors that I've had all my career. And I was pretty lucky, and I don't believe in luck. I always believe in creating my own luck, but for some reason, all along the line, I had good people, great people, people that had won a lot of awards in their profession, and most of it was in coaching professions. And I just happened to be with those people, and they guided me to a lot of victories, a lot of awards. So then, after individual awards, I became a coach, and wow, putting out all these champions. And then they leave, and they are involved with teams, and they are still representing what they learned back here at the university. So for me, it's first individual, and now it's teams, and it just spreads worldwide. And because of that, it's pretty impressive. My family, actually, my wife Kathy is here, and that's probably my best award. But people along there really aren't my family, which I have 12 grandkids, and from my 4 daughters, 3 of them which went to the University of Iowa. They are not here today because they're out competing and trying to win awards, those 12 grandkids. They're in a lot of baseball and softball games today all over the state, and I will be leaving from here to join them as well. Plus the fact that I had to move my wedding date because of a wrestling match. But today is the World Wrestling Trials in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I did not move. I stayed here, so, for this award. So in conclusion, this is cool. I love the fact that I'm winning awards for winning awards. Thank you.
I'd like you to know that when I was here at school, Coach Gable won 6 out of 7 national titles. It was pretty cool. Nancy Hauserman. For more than 30 years, retired UI professor, associate dean, and ombudsman Nancy Hauserman has made significant contributions to the university community, including through the development and growth of the Tippie College of Business, programs such as the Hawkinson Institute of Business, Finance, the Tippie Early Admission Program, the Tippie Senate, the Frank Business Communications Center, and the Tippie Young Alumni Board. Nancy, it's an honor to present you with the University of Iowa Distinguished Faculty Staff Award for your outstanding service to the university.
You people before me are tough acts to follow. And I'm used to tough acts, but this is tough. Well, Dana Simcox told me that I had 30 minutes to speak. But my dad needs to get home. My fabulous 92-year-old father and his partner drove up from St. Louis for this, and he needs to get home. And so, Dad, in your honor, my remarks are condensed. This really is the perfect event. It really is. It's just wonderful to be around so many people who have done so much for the University of Iowa, and I mean all of you who are here, because if you're here, you either are a Hawkeye, or you want to be a Hawkeye, or you've loved a Hawkeye. You're part of it, and so to me this is perfect. And then of course we're in this beautiful, beautiful building. I think nothing obviously happens alone, and so many people who helped me and continue to help me are here. So my dad, when I was undergraduate dean in the College of Business, I guess really in sort of everything I've ever done, I am not a person who lacks for ideas. And those of you who have worked with me, I know that you shudder at the thought of yet another moment when I say, I have got a great idea. But I have a lot of ideas. And I told my dad that I had an idea, and that was that we really needed to be helping our undergraduate students learn how to communicate better, particularly in their writing. I didn't just sort of like throw that out as a random kind of comment. My dad, from the time I could hold a crayon, emphasized the importance of writing and writing well for me. So it was something that I grew up with and I knew was really important to him. And it was important to my mother, and my mother was important to him. And so my dad created a writing center in the Tippie College of Business in honor of my mother so that we could teach the Tippie College students how to write and how to communicate well. And I thank you for that. And then my law school education, I came here in 1974 to go to the University of Iowa College of Law. I really had very little knowledge about Iowa, although I had lived in Burlington for several months after moving from the East Coast. And the law school not only provided me with a great education, and I have to say the PS and my father provided me with a great tuition so that I could go to this great law school, which gave me the foundation for the career that I had. And Kevin, you who got the award today, you also got to hear about one of my great ideas. Gary Fettke and I came to talk about a great idea about we really needed to do more about diversity in the College of Business, and that was a long time ago, even before the fabulous program that's been developed that Nancy's running today. And I thank you for standing up and saying, I'll help you. And then, of course, he helped, and then I came back to my staff who already had a fair amount of work to do because I do have a lot of ideas. I can see at least one of them kind of like shuddering at the memory. And I said, whoa, this is great. Look, we have funding for this new program. Now all we have to do is like put it together and someone has to help me run it. Thank you, Nancy. Really, people were there, they stood up and they helped. And friends like Sarah and Paul, who stand behind me for everything I want to do, support me, write letters on my behalf, thank you, sort of support when things are tough. All of that, all of those things, they all matter. We don't get anywhere by ourselves. And the UI staff, I just have to say this to all of you who are here. You are everything in this university. I know that the students are really important, and I'm faculty, and I know we have to say, and we do, we wake up in the morning saying, we are important, we are important. You wondered if that was true, it's true. But you know what, we would be, all of us, without the staff, without all of you who help coordinate everything, who take our ideas and make them reality. I mean, really, you're, I'd say, the backbone of much of the success at the University of Iowa, certainly mine, both in the Tippie College and beyond. And finally, my spouse, who's here, gets to come to yet another event. My spouse who keeps me humble and keeps me in Costco hot dogs. I am grateful. I am grateful. And mostly, let me close by saying, I am truly and sincerely grateful for the pleasure to serve this great university. And I, too, am proud to be a Hawkeye. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
Nancy Humbles. Nancy has fostered student success at U of I for 25 years, including founding the Center for Diversity and Enrichment, where she was the director from 2007 to 2015. A dedicated community volunteer, Nancy is a school board member in Cedar Rapids, the vice president for the Area Substance Abuse Council, and a coordinator for the local NAACP celebrations. Nancy, we are pleased to present you with the University of Iowa Distinguished Faculty Staff Award for your dedication to helping students excel.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank the University of Iowa Alumni Association and those individuals that nominated me for this great honor. I am humbled to be recognized in such a way and appreciate the campus community for thinking positively about my years of service at this great institution. When I was first informed that I was receiving this award, I was overcome with emotion. I did the only thing that I ever wanted to do here was to make a difference. This recognition demonstrates that the work of my team and I did, it was not unnoticed. Each day when I got home from working at the University of Iowa, I would ask myself, did I make a difference? This award is validation that in some way I did. Hard work, determination, drive was instilled in me at an early age by my parents, Albert and Evelyn Collier. They repeatedly told me that if I worked hard and did the right thing, I would reap great benefits. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Your advice paid off, and I have passed it on to my children and grandchildren, along with the students at the University of Iowa. I would not be standing here today accepting this award without the support, trust, and collaboration of my former colleagues, my work family, and the fantastic students at the University of Iowa. Thank you so much. You made this journey an enjoyable learning experience that truly changed my life. My heartfelt gratitude goes out to Dr. Rosalind Beecham Green, who hired me in 1990 in the Office of Special Support Services and allowed me to begin my career here at the University of Iowa. I began in the capacity as an academic planning counselor with little experience advising, but I knew in my heart that I could make a difference. I knew that the first thing I needed to do was strengthen my counseling skills. So I enrolled in the master's program in post-secondary education and chugged along, completing one course at a time while working full-time. It took hours of poring over books, lots of stress, long days and short nights, over 5 long years, but I did it. And it was well worth it. And I thank Dr. Beecham Green for that opportunity, and I will be forever thankful to her. I also owe a debt of gratitude to Professor Marcella David for entrusting me with a newly formed office, the Center for Diversity and Enrichment. Thank you so much for believing in me. The special work that this office performed and the people that I met along the way, my feelings simply cannot be expressed in words. Lastly, but certainly not least, I want to thank my husband, Shelby, our children, Shelby and Shamara. Your love and encouragement kept me on my path and gave me the strength and courage to continue on it. At one time, we were all enrolled in college. The University of Iowa and Iowa State. So thank you, Shelby, for paying for it all. I want to leave you with a thought, an encouragement, an inspiration. Do not just go through the motions of your hectic daily lives. Ask yourself repeatedly, am I making a difference? If you cannot answer definitively with a yes, examine yourself, introspect, and find a way that you can answer that question with an overwhelming yes as often as possible. We all have those days when we won't be able to get a yes, but use that as a motivation to get up the next day and work twice as hard for that yes, because someone needs you to be that spark of positivity in their lives. Every single day, you have an impact on the people you come in contact with, even if it's a stranger. Make that impact a great one. Make it a positive one. Make it one that makes the difference we all yearn for, that changes the world, one person, one positive note, one yes at a time. Thank you again for this honor and for the work you do in your lives to make a difference in the lives of others. We are all in this together.
Great message, Nancy. V.C. Patel. VC has served as an expert mentor and leader at the U of I College of Engineering at critical junctures in the institution's history. Over the course of 4 decades, the former Departmental Executive Officer of Mechanical Engineering, Director of IIHR Hydroscience and Engineering, Director of the Center for Computer-Aided Design, and Chair of the Engineering Faculty Council, has brought the UI global distinction in the field of hydraulics and computer simulation. VC, it's a privilege to present you with the Distinguished Faculty Staff Award for your world-renowned work in engineering.
I would like to thank everyone for being here on a day like this in the celebrations. It's hard to follow all the speakers who came and covered a lot of ground. First of all, when I heard about this award, I could not believe it, because I thought these awards were restricted only for faculty, for alumni. And like Dan, I'm not an alum. But then I rationalized. I said, I produced a lot of alums. So that counts for something, right? That counts for something. And secondly, when I learned that I had to say a few words, and Nancy, I think you underestimated 30 minutes. When a professor is given the podium, he is expected to speak for 50 minutes. And the alums who should know that well. Right? Of all the people, alums would know that you have to tolerate whoever is up here for 50 minutes. But then I'm given 2 or 3 minutes. So I said, well, I have to not ramble. I should focus. So here is a focused statement. All right? So I am humbled by this award. I'm grateful to all those who had something to do with it. When I learned about it, I thought I knew some people who would have probably pushed this in this direction. So I sent an email to 3 or 4 people, and I said, if you had something to do with it, I'd like to thank you. And they responded, no. So I'm still baffled. I'm still baffled. Anyway, as I think about an award like this, I am reminded of the scriptures that tell us about 4 things that determine our lives. And the first thing is space, physical space. Going from Kenya to England via India and settling in Iowa for 4 decades and more means that I found a supportive, loving, nourishing, caring place. That is the University of Iowa. Some of you who experienced it only for a few years. Fortunate ones like us, been here for 47. That is space. It takes you where you want to be, where you feel comfortable, and where you make your accomplishments, you make your presence. The second important thing is time. The scriptures tell us about time. Time is measured in picoseconds, milliseconds, decades, centuries, millennia, eons. How do I measure the time I've had? There I am reminded about something that was a textbook for me at high school in Nairobi, Kenya. You wouldn't believe it. Shakespeare, Macbeth. And Macbeth says, a life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. I'm not sure I will use the other following words, but is to quote a continual quotation, it's a tale told by an idiot. Shakespeare knew the word 500 years ago. Full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Well, I've had my time on the stage. And the show continues. The stage is still here. The University of Iowa is here. It was here before me. It will be here for centuries after me. So that is time. The third thing, and it's very important, are associates, people who come to influence our lives. It's hard to imagine any accomplishment without contributions of associates. In my case, my life partner, Manjula, who comes here, who took care of home and family, while I chased my professional dream around the world. My son, Sanjay, who is here, my daughter, Bindia, who is attending a conference in Bilbao in Spain, both grew up to be ideal children, in spite of long absences from home on my part. My students, and I have to say a lot about my students, undergraduates and graduate students, who actually I spent more time with than I did with my children, one-on-one, graduate students, and I still keep in touch with them. I think of them as amplifiers. They are amplifiers of our ideas. We give them a line and they write a thesis. Amazing. So my students, who went to do great things all around the world, and my colleagues, and I have to remember some of the early colleagues, Lou Landweber, Jack Kennedy, who was the previous director of IIHR, many of you recall, who made me stay here. Say, here's a place. The grass may look greener beyond, but Iowa is the place. So I have to acknowledge their contributions in my life. Successive engineering deans, starting with the late Bob Herring, Rick Miller, Barry Butler, Alec Scranton, who actually supported what I was doing. Not only that, they talked the higher administration, presidents and vice presidents, to provide support to the college and for the vision that we had. And I thank them for that, for being there, for me and the things I thought was important to do. Who worked with me at UI administrators to bring support for what we were doing. And finally, two people, very special people. Larry Weber, who's here, the current director of IIHR, and Karim Malik, who may still be here, who's the current director of Center for Computer-Aided Design. Both of them came into my life at the right time to pick up the pieces and run with them so that I could leave the stage in peace. So that's the fourth item, is associates. Now the fourth one. And that is effort, or karma. We all know the term. We don't quite understand it. What is left is mine, my efforts. And if you think about the three previous things about space, time, and associates, you'll find that very little is really left to take credit for. Here I have to quote my guru, who came into my life some 25, 30 years ago, and left me with two pieces of advice. And he said, make sure your effort advances the organization that you work for, in this case, the University of Iowa, IIHR, College of Engineering, and make sure the people who look up to you as you do your own things are advanced by your actions and by your efforts. I hope I have lived up to his expectations. Thank you very much for a few words. Thank you very much.
Doug True. Doug spent 27 years in service to the University of Iowa, first as treasurer in 1988 and later as senior vice president in 1991. During his exceptional career, Doug played a crucial role in managing the university's finances and is widely admired for his leadership in helping rebuild campus after the devastating 2008 flood. Doug, we're pleased to present you with the Distinguished Faculty Staff Award for your expert guidance of the university.
Thank you all for being here today, and particularly the University of Iowa Alumni Association Board and the University of Iowa. Great organizations, spent a lot of time with them. I'm looking out here at Vince Nelson right now, and with the great people that they've had over here and I've had a chance to associate with over the years. So thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the nominators for me. Listening to some of the people who previously got awards and reading about them, it's clear that my nominators must have exaggerated extremely to get me into this group. Extraordinary group of people, great accomplishments. So I thank those nominators, but I think they may have hedged the truth a little bit. Also, I'd like to thank the people here today to be with me. My family here, June, Kathy, and Alec in Roquet, back where we were told to be. And also a number of friends from, we have close friends that have come here and to be with us today. And two of them came as far as Tucson, Arizona. How about that, huh? So thank you very much for being here. One of the things that I've been fortunate enough to do, I was an undergraduate here, and many of the recipients were not. And so I came here at the university and experienced it in a different way than you do as someone that works here as a faculty or a staff member. This is a faculty or staff award, but it all began for me in 1967 when I began here with little more than ambition, curiosity, empty head. Sound familiar, Nancy, from some of your experiences? Those of you who teach undergraduates probably experience that a great deal. And in the 4 years I was here, it was a revelation. It shaped you. And I think many of you out here who've had that experience here at the University of Iowa found that experience to be true. A big university, a big public university, but still able to deliver great education. And I'm so pleased at that. And having the opportunity later to come back as a staff member here, first as treasurer, and what a privilege. I didn't have any idea at the time how lucky I was to be here and be involved with everything that's going on at the university. There was good and bad and everything in between, but by and large, there couldn't have been a better job. And I tell that constantly to the people who work for me here and anybody else who wanted to listen, how fortunate we are to be here employed at the University of Iowa. There's no better place to work and live and thrive. There's plenty of opportunity, whether you're in healthcare, whether you're a faculty outside the healthcare, whether you're a staff member, whatever you happen to be doing, or whether you're supporting the university through groups like this. A lot is said in respect to me about flood recovery, and I was reading about this, and that's sort of, this building epitomizes it certainly as a great instance of overcoming a disaster of 2008. But personally, I see a lot of other things that I appreciate just as much in my experience, but are much lower profile. And working with faculty and staff, great people here at the university that made a difference. I'm a product of the chemistry department, and that building, as some of you know, was pretty awful when we came here, and we had to do some work on it about 20 years ago, and did a great deal of work. Began with the department head, David Weimer, a great person. Ended up with Erlene Irby, who runs the undergraduate labs in chemistry. Can you imagine that? All those 18-year-olds coming into those undergraduate labs, and you're responsible for their safety. Well, she does a great job, and these people deserve better than what they had 20 years ago, and a number of us worked hard to define what that needs was, and then in turn to find the money. You know, dreams are one thing, but you gotta have the money to deliver. And so what we did is work hard to find the money, to figure out the cash flow, to see if there was debt needed. One of you here, Rod Leonards, who was here, worked tremendously on the idea of what's the best solution, who are the architects, how are we gonna build this, and created a wonderful facility for all these students that are coming through here, many on their way to the great health professions that we have here at the University of Iowa. That's one of many things I've had the great fortune to be involved with. And I've been very, very fortunate during the years. And again, this award is very humbling, and I appreciate it very much. And I also very much appreciate all of you, particularly those who have come here to be with me today. Thank you very much.
Our last award is for the Distinguished Friend of the University Award, and it's granted to individuals who are typically not alumni of the university, but in recognition of specific meritorious, I can't say that word, sorry, service on behalf of the quality and advancement of the university and/or the Alumni Association. And it's lucky for me that I get to introduce one of my mentors, Vince Nelson. Vince energized the Alumni Association with hard work, humor, and loyalty for 26 years, particularly as the organization's executive director from 1997 until his retirement in 2014. In this capacity, he ensured that the UIAA was regarded as a trusted friend and valuable partner, and spread far and wide the message of once a Hawkeye, always a Hawkeye. Vince, for your devotion to the U of I alumni and friends, we're honored to present you the Distinguished Friend of the University Award.
Now, you do know your future is in my hands, since I'm the last one. I am reminded of so many things about this day with my service over 35 years in this business, 9 awards programs at Drake University and 26 here. and lots of wonderful memories of celebrating outstanding individuals who have come to both places, but always pointed out to me what alumni mean to an institution. And I'll get to that in just a little bit. But I will also say that we had one awardee, a beloved friend and member of the University of Iowa family a few years ago, and he started out, the year is 1912, and he worked his way up into the 80s. So, yes, he did set a record for the longest response, okay? I am extremely honored and humbled to receive this recognition, for it is something I can tell you I never expected, but I graciously accept, and I will cherish it forever. I want to thank the Alumni Association Awards Committee, the Board of Directors, and the University of Iowa. I also want to extend my special thanks to those individuals who wrote in support of me for this award. You know who you are, and I will always be deeply grateful. I want to congratulate and recognize all of the other awardees and their family members and friends who have joined them today as a part of the 2017 class of distinguished alumni. You are all exceptional and truly distinguished, and so deserving of the recognition you have received today. It is indeed a special day in the life of the University of Iowa when its alumni and former staff are recognized for their outstanding contributions and achievement and service. A valued colleague and dear friend of mine always described this day to me as one of the most important days each year in the life of the University of Iowa. It was, as he said, the day that he recharges my batteries and it inspires and prepares me for the next week's work. It is a day to celebrate that the university has to offer all the things to this community, the state of Iowa, our country, and to the world. The University of Iowa is an exceptionally outstanding university, and graduates leave their footprints wherever they call home. As I said during my tenure as president of the University of Iowa, that this was an honor and a privilege to serve, and I was so proud to do so. It was a dream come true for me to be given this opportunity, and it was a joy to go to work each and every day. But whatever success we may have had was the result of many, many different entities working together. I had the opportunity to work closely with so many wonderful people during my tenure, and now it is my turn to thank them for all of their wonderful support. First of all, my wife Pam, of almost 49 years together. She was always my strongest supporter and advocate. We were a team throughout our entire time that we were working for the University of Iowa Alumni Association and the University of Iowa. So Pam, mere words can never fully express my deep appreciation for the support you gave to me and the UI Alumni Association. And this award goes equally to you. I was blessed with a wonderful, creative, dedicated, and outstanding staff at the Alumni Association. They were true alumni relations professionals in their approach to their work. We truly were a team, and I will be forever grateful to you. A superb group of volunteers who served on the board of directors for the UI Alumni Association, and to those who served in leadership positions, whose single focus to everything that the Alumni Association was involved in was to strengthen and advance the University of Iowa. It was indeed a pleasure to serve with all of you. A wonderful group of members from the UI administration, presidents, provosts, vice presidents, deans, and other administrators and staff members who were always so supportive to the efforts of the UI Alumni Association, and it was a joy to work with all of you. and special appreciation for the close working relationship with the sister organization, the UI Foundation. We worked together on so many collaborative events throughout the years where we brought the president of the UI to thousands of alumni and friends around the state of Iowa and across the country. And to many of the foundation colleagues who work closely with the Alumni Association staff and so many programs and events, our professional and personal friendships flourish to this day, and I thank you very much. And finally, to the thousands of UI alumni and friends who I met over the years with all of the travels to the many different programs the UIA sponsored or co-sponsored. So many friendships remain to this day as a result of those events. So again, I want to express my deep appreciation for this recognition. And it leads me to this belief, to which I hold deeply and have expressed many times before. We must always remember that in the life of any college or university, change will always be taking place. Faculty and staff come and go. Presidents and administrators come and go. Students come and then graduate and become alumni. And they, the alumni, are the true stakeholders in every college or university, for they never leave. The focus of any and all alumni programs should at all times be on strengthening their connection and relationship with their alma mater in however they so choose to make that connection. That is why it makes the University of Iowa so special and our alumni, for they are so passionate about their alma mater, and that is what made my work at the Alumni Association so very enjoyable and gratifying. And now, during this significant year, as the University of Iowa Alumni Association celebrates its 150th anniversary, let's remember what this organization has done over the past 150 years, and say thank you to the Alumni Association's total dedication to support, advance, and uphold this remarkable place we call the University of Iowa. I am deeply honored to be a distinguished friend of the UI. And always remember, once a Hawkeye, always a Hawkeye, on Iowa, and go Hawks.
That concludes our 2017 Distinguished Alumni Awards presentation. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to invite President Harold to the podium.
Thank you. This is, many of you heard me probably say this in the last few weeks, this is absolutely my favorite time of year on campus. It's, we just a few weeks ago had the wonderful opportunity to honor 4,800 new alumni into our midst. We've had a number of ceremonies celebrating all the great things that we do, and then we culminate this season by you letting us honor you. I know many of you now personally, and I know how proud you are of our institution. I'd like to remind you that that pride in many respects comes from the people who followed you, and you now join them. You honor us by all that you've gotten done. Our Distinguished Alumni Award Program is, without a doubt, an integral part of what makes us a very distinctive and distinguished university. Your professional accomplishments, your generous contributions to your communities, to our society, to our university, the difference you've made in the lives of so many, and the way that you've given back. These are the significant parts of not only you, but also now what makes us part of you. We're obviously very proud of all that you've done, and we're so
honored to have been just a small part of the foundation in each of your lives. I thank you deeply for being such tremendous stewards of Iowa's distinction through your impressive work and the contributions you've made and given back to the university and to our society at large. We're grateful for all that you've done in pursuit of your own excellence and in that way making us an excellent institution as well. Congratulations on your awards. We're proud to recognize you among the most distinguished members of our Hawkeye family. And as everyone has said, go Hawks and enjoy the day. Thank you.
I promise I'm the last one. Thank you, President Harold, and congratulations again to all our award winners here today. Your achievements inspire the rest of us to follow your lead and show how the University of Iowa and its people make a positive impact in the world. I thank all of you again for coming to help celebrate with us today, and I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you. Go Hawks.